In this lesson, we'll cover duct insulation and duct lining. So in our example on our screen, we have three duct systems. We're going to focus on the outer two. Now the duct system all the way on the left, the one I'm moving my mouse over right now, is made with a regular duct type, or regular duct system. The one on the very right is made with a placeholder duct or a duct placeholder system. Now technically both are very similar. They're made from duct types which have duct properties and parameters and specific values. But a few differences are the duct placeholder system on the right, one, it doesn't have justification values of how it's placed, where the duct system on the left does. Also, the duct placeholder system on the right does not have the ability to add duct insulation or duct lining. If you click on one of the lines in the duct placeholder system, the properties for that system appear on the left, at least for this duct. If you scroll down in the property area all the way to the bottom, I do not see any entries for duct insulation or duct lining. Click Modify to deselect. Now, on the duct system in the left, click the same element for the duct, the one that's on the horizontal angle. Dimensions will appear for it, and the properties appear. Now here, you see the horizontal and vertical justifications for this element, which you didn't see for the placeholder duct. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom in the property area, you see two areas, one for insulation and one for lining. So again, you can only add insulation and lining to duct elements that are actually created with a duct or a placeholder duct that's been converted to a duct. So let's look at how we can add insulation or lining to a single segment of the duct run or the entire duct run or duct system, basically depending on what you choose. So I chose this one element right now. If it's deselected, just go ahead and select it again. When you select any element of a duct system, i.e. a piece of duct, the ribbon will change, and on the very right, you'll have an option for duct insulation and duct lining. To add either one, all you have to do is click the Add button, again for Add Insulation or Add Lining. In this example, let's click Add Insulation. Now again, the first thing you would want to do is make sure you click a piece of ductwork so you see this displayed. Once you click Add Insulation, it's going to ask you, well, what type of insulation do you want to add? In this example we're using here, we only have one type called default. And we only have basically a thickness by default called 25 millimeters. That's roughly a little over half an inch, 3/4 of an inch. So you could change the values to whatever you want, or I can edit the type and add a new type. For this example though, we're just going to click OK. Go ahead and click OK, and that will actually add insulation to this segment of duct. Now if you zoom in closer on this duct segment, you'll actually see a dashed line that represents that insulation or lining, depending on what you add to this duct work. I'm just going to zoom back out. Now, since the insulation or lining has been added, the ribbon now changes, giving you additional options, where you can come in and actually edit the insulation, or you could remove the insulation. So if I want to remove the insulation here, I can just simply click Remove Insulation. It's going to ask you to verify you want to remove that from the actual duct segment or duct system, and then it's technically removed. And again, I can repeat the same process using the Add Lining, where it will ask me again what type of lining type that I want to add and the actual thickness. Again, I can edit the type or add a new type or change the thickness. I'm just going to click Cancel in this example. So as a review, in this lesson, we looked at duct insulation and duct lining. We looked at the two examples of duct systems or creation of ducts, one using the duct command and one using the actual duct placeholder command. We saw that the duct placeholder does not have the ability to add duct insulation or duct lining. Only ducts created with the duct command can, or a duct placeholder duct, if it's converted to a duct, can actually add duct insulation and duct lining. And then we looked at how to add the duct insulation or lining to the duct itself, either its segment or the systems, how to edit that duct insulation or duct lining, and then finally, how to remove that duct insulation or duct lining.